Good and evil. Sometimes the difference between the two is a sharp line. Sometimes it's a blur. Sometimes we have to do things outside of the law.
We're gonna make a difference. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but we are.
You're blind, but you see so much.
Jimmy?
But at least they had a hero.
Jimmy King is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Wrestling's fake.
Wrestling's not fake!
The word, sir? The word is no. I am therefore going anyway.
You do this, you'll never sit in the captain's chair again.
Engage auto systems. Clear all moorings.
Cleared, sir.
1/4 impulse power.
Someone is stealing the Enterprise.
This Organized Chaos podcast is brought to you by JEMS Art Studio. JEMS Art Studio is an online store that allows access to prints that you can use for most anything, obviously as just a picture, or as a wallpaper, or as a bookmark, or anything you can think of. You can find JEMS Art Studio at etsy.com/shop/JEMS Art Studio. This podcast is also brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to another Organized Chaos podcast. Once again, you have chosen correctly the single greatest episode of any podcast ever. We keep on getting better, Bobby. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, you are. You know, through a lot of elbow grease and trial by fire. Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah. Well, today we got some cool stuff to talk about. We got mostly cool stuff.
I suggested something that I thought would be really hilarious to talk about, but about 30 minutes into watching it, I really regretted what I did.
It's a thing, and it will launch us into a topic you like, so it's not completely wasted in my opinion. But we will be talking about the beginning of Daredevil, which of course, that's what Bobby's talking about. We were really unimpressed with Daredevil.
Yes.
And then we're going to follow it up with the dark crime-fighting antics and Ready to Rumble.
Yes.
And then we'll finish up with Star Trek 3, an odd Star Trek 3.
Yes.
But I actually have a fair amount to say about that because...
So do I, actually, because I picked up a lot more this go-around than the last
I think
time.
I maybe picked up more this go-around than ever before. Because I'm watching... We'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. Spoiler, yeah. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But,
spoilers for a movie that came out in the 80s. The year before, the decade in which Bob and I learned how to walk.
Yes, it was. But last night was the Academy Awards, and I do have to say I didn't watch it because, for the past couple years I haven't cared. I used to have to stay in tune to that stuff, and I haven't, so I haven't. And good news is nothing happened last night, so there's nothing worth talking about.
No, there was a beautiful tribute to Betty White. There was. I did see clips of that this morning.
That I actually didn't see that because for some reason
it was like it was Jamie Lee Curtis. She was talking about, she was giving like a whole speech about Betty while she's holding like a tiny little rescue. And there's people, like a whole choir that's singing, starting to sing "Thank You for Being a Friend" while they're showing like pictures of Betty.
That sounds actually really nice.
And and then Jamie talked about one of the things that Betty loved very much, animal shelters and four-legged friends. And then said, so if you ever want to do something in honor of Betty, just adopt a dog.
That's a good point. Yeah,
and that was like stuff. That was and she was absolutely a great and I'll admit, it was a total. I was like, oh, that's sweet. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And that was a nice palatable moment from the evening.
Yes.
From what I have read, things did kind of go a little south.
Yes.
Really
pretty
quick.
much the one segment I've actually watched because everybody's talking about it. I saw people posting on Facebook and I was like, what did I miss? I was literally recording a reaction video while this happened. So
I went to Twitter because every source I found of it had been blocked out, but I knew if I wanted to hear all of that, what I'm pretty sure I was reading the lips of, I went to Twitter, and that's how I found it.
Well, I can
found some people from Japan and Australia who shared what their broadcast, what they watched of it, or I guess they rewound their cable or their satellite or whatever. But yeah, uncensored. It was you just heard Will in that room.
Yeah, well, it's worth noting. I can still find the video on my phone. I found it last night, the uncensored video, and I still found it earlier today. But when I search for it on the TV, I can't find it. I have to pull it up on my phone and then just cast it to there. Because I don't understand why that is.
That's interesting.
But
Are
it's
you
weird.
doing it through like a... Well, what's like... Are you searching through YouTube for it on your TV?
Yes. It's the same way. I can search through it on YouTube on my phone and find it, but not on the TV. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But
it could just be something with that with like the app that's based for the televisions in general.
Maybe it's weird though.
Maybe because, well, like for my Kindle, for example, right? Like I have a YouTube app for right, and it's the same. It runs just the same as YouTube does when I go to look at it on my phone or if I'm searching at it from my laptop. It's a blue background, which is a little weird. I can't like make a playlist of videos at all. Like I can't add videos to a queue while I'm watching them. There's like minor differences. I can't watch in a small view of it on there. And they don't have a legit YouTube app for the Kindle that I've been able to find. All of it is just like, just these kind of knockoff, but still sponsored and powered by YouTube apps.
Huh.
Yeah. So it could be something like that. Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, it is weird.
And I think it's obvious we're talking about the slap heard around the world, which I think everybody's calling it.
We are talking about the slap.
We're talking about Chris Rock. He told a bad joke. Will Smith slapped him.
Poor taste.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is Jada Pinkett Smith, is there a medical thing that I didn't know about?
Alopecia.
Okay, so it is alopecia. I think I've seen something like that.
There's been speculation, I believe, and I can't confirm whether or not she has ever said openly, yes, I do have this or anything like that. But I mean, there's been speculation. She's made a lot of advocation or awareness about it. So that's, I believe, where the speculation comes from with it. But either way, whether she does or doesn't, I mean, that's something that's real, that affects, women all over the world. And I don't know, I think that's something that's not necessarily talked about on a public forum enough. And it shouldn't be a punchline.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, his joke was just dumb. I just thought it was a dumb joke. Because I assumed she'd shaved her head just for like the fashion. Because I think she carries the look well. I think she carries it.
She does, yes. She absolutely does.
I just thought it was a dumb joke.
Well, it could have been that. Well, you remember G.I. Jane coming out, right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that too. I also remember mostly hearing how a lot of male actors were speaking out against Demi Moore playing such a masculine role.
I remember that. It was so dumb.
And not really having any reason except being that she's a girl.
Yeah. And that's the entire point of the character.
And, and that's the entire point of the film. Like, those idiots, I forget who they were, and even if they were, I wouldn't mention their names. Just like, oh no, you're foolish. But like, yeah, I remember clearly because it was an interview with her husband at the time, Bruce Willis. Yeah, and him talking, like, kind of looking at the interviewer, like, well, why? That's what the story is about. Like,
yeah,
he had no problem with it.
Yeah,
because he's like. Yeah, well, and he supported his wife. They always did do that. They were a strong unit, and I know the controversy was she actually shaved her head for the role, and that was more of the big controversy with it, that she actually did that and she didn't wear a cap or anything.
Yeah, I remember that being such a huge deal, and it's looking back on it, it's like, who cares?
Wow, really? Like who the hell cares?
Ooh. I mean, even more recently, Karen Gillan shaved her head for Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think she does it for the other ones, but for the first one, she shaved her head.
Yeah, I think that, and like I think now she wears a cap.
Oh yeah, well that almost always happens early on in the role. They'll put in the extra effort.
Oh no, she shaved her head. She was like, no, I want to go all in for this role because I remember James even said, I didn't tell you had to shave your head.
I mean, it's gonna make the makeup guy's job a lot easier, but holy crap!
I mean, but no, she's like, no, I want this role. I'm all about it. And she has been great.
No, she's been fantastic. But
I don't know. Like, I think Chris just made it trying to like make the bald comparison.
Yeah,
and just in that alone. And I mean, I understand comedy is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally always one to defend a comic. But in this case, I just kind of think, I don't know. I still think even in comedy, you should have some lines of what good taste is.
You see, I feel like he was clearly, I feel like, shooting off the cuff, because that joke was just kind of out of nowhere, and I don't know.
Because even if, there's even a part, I don't know. I don't know. There's a part.
I'll go ahead and say,
sorry, go ahead.
My little bit is that once Will Smith smacked him, that was out of line. If he had literally, like, if he had sat in his chair, like, let's cut out the smack and just have Will Smith saying, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. If he had just sat there and yelled that, it won't have been intense. He won't have gotten the point across. No violence. And I think Chris would have pretty much had the same reaction. I think the smack was unnecessary, honestly.
Yeah. I agree.
That's just kind of my final thoughts on it, because it's a bad joke.
We also don't know. I mean, it's a bad joke, absolutely. And I mean, publicly, Will and Jada have had a very interesting public life recently.
Yes.
So it's just to say the least. So I mean, personally speaking, on that issue of their public life, I for one wouldn't be so shocked about, backlash if I wasn't airing my dirty laundry in public.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of a mean thing to say, but like, it's kind of what they did, and I'm surprised that people were shocked at the backlash at that.
Well, yeah, I haven't kept up so much with their thing, or it seems like they have an open marriage, and there's some questionable choices she's made with that. I'm not in the relationship. It's not for me to judge.
Yeah, that's not for me to judge either.
But yeah, I like in that moment, I also did kind of feel for Will, because he was something obviously snapped. I don't think that joke by itself was what did it. I think that was like a straw that broke the camel's back, and he's had a moment.
Yeah, people were even saying he was laughing at.
He was.
I just kind of went, obviously, you've never been on the edge of a break. You could be laughing at the moment of it.
He laughed, and then he walked up there and smacked me. I was like, whoa.
I mean, walking up there, that's enough of a presence. I don't know if I could say how, because I don't know, before I want to make a stance on how I feel about the slap part of it. I mean, I try to put myself in Will's shoes. And, in that moment right before, I can't say whether or not I would have done the same. I mean, I think that, he did deserve it. Chris kind of had that coming for it.
I would never argue
didn't deserve to be publicly like that. I still think if that was the case, it should have been a matter that should have been handled privately.
Oh, definitely.
He maybe should have came up to him and, told him to keep his wife's name out of his fucking mouth that close to his face.
Yeah.
That would have given the same effect.
That's true. If he had just walked up and said, please don't joke about it, and walked away, he won't have gotten the point to cross the Chris.
And if, Chris said something, and then if he had to shout it from his chair, then that
would be 100% on Chris. Then
100% on Chris. Yeah. I mean, even I know after he shouted that, his wishes about his wife towards Chris. I know that Chris did also say, like, boy, I could say, and he stopped himself. And I've heard a lot of people say Chris handled it with class. And it's like, don't say that. I mean, he did stop himself from making matters worse.
Yeah, well, I think he did well. I think he was really thrown off. Yeah,
there's people who are also saying, "Oh, it's all set up for ratings. It's ratings."
I probably would be be in the same camp if Will didn't yell afterwards, because that slap just seemed kind of out of nowhere, and I was wondering, like, and it looks almost fake how quickly Chris recovers with it. But then after the yelling felt so genuine, that was real.
Yeah, but there's also the argument he is an actor.
Yeah, no, it could be fake, but
he's also a human with emotions.
Yeah.
He's also a human with emotions, which fuel his acting. Human emotions. I don't know. It's an interesting situation, to say the least.
I think he shouldn't have smacked Chris. I think he's definitely dealing with something. We probably don't, as the public, don't even know the full extent of what he's dealing with, and he hit his snapping point. And I do feel sorry for him. That being said, smacking him's over the line. Period.
Yeah, it should have been handled privately.
Yes. I can think of lots of ways to handle it. That being said, in the moment, it's tough. But yeah.
Yeah, in the moment, you can't say how you would have reacted or acted differently. Like, I mean, even in a moment, I mean, I couldn't even tell you if it would have been, if I would have kept my hand open or not.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in moment, yeah. It's a tough thing. And it's always been clear that Will loves his wife.
Yes, it has.
He loves Jane. That's always been very clear. Even through all that, he still loves that woman. So, and he'll fight for her, and it's good to see that type of, like, a man standing up for his woman, like, you know, being noble. But, like, let's also think, you know, in times like that where a man standing up for a woman's honor, I mean, you know, we used to shoot at each other at one point, man. So, I mean, I think a slap is, like, uncalled for in today's age, but I mean, could have asked him for a duel right there on the Oscar stage. I mean, if they wanted fucking ratings. Yeah,
that's true. if this is a show for ratings, they could have gone a lot further.
But I mean, also, and this is something that will come up later in the show, you know, as a wrestling fan, it's hard for me to kind of buy that it's fixed because, you know, there could have been a few plants of people in the crowd to react the way they could have, as there is in wrestling. But, I mean, also, it could have just, you know, been all genuine and real because I watched people's reactions around them. And there was somebody over Will's shoulder. And I was watching her reactions the whole time because at first it was just kind of like going with like, oh, and then just I just saw like the look of
just like what did I just see? You want to?
Oh, this is really wait, this is not a part.
Yeah. Well, are we ready to move on to something more entertaining, although probably darker? Since it's been moved to Disney Plus, I thought, and I haven't seen all the Netflix series, and you haven't seen all of them either. I think between us, we've seen about the same amount, but we have different gaps, I think. So I thought it'd be fun to maybe, when there's gaps, go ahead and go over some of the old Netflix series there on Disney Plus. So we started with the first 4 episodes of Daredevil. And I'm going to go ahead and say, it's been since this came out since I've seen it. So it's like 7 years, which seems weird.
Yeah. About right. Yeah, it's been since this came out since I've watched it as well, and holy God, that was great.
I forgot how good it is. There's like when this first came out, I loved it so much, and I still love it.
I mean, I did get, like, with the first episode especially, I got a lot of vibes of how, like, okay, I see them really copying a lot of Dark Knight, like a lot of like the similar kind of like themes almost, like just how how much of Daredevil we saw in the first few shots of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
How we barely saw him, and like just it's like, wow, they're kind of leaning into the. I see the influence of the Dark Knight in here, definitely, but it quickly became more of like its own story.
Oh yeah, very much.
And its own thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Great.
Well, I mean, some of the fun things about Daredevil as opposed to Dark Knight is, Dark Knight, you're dealing with a billionaire. Daredevil, yeah, he's a lawyer. He's got money. He's not rich.
No.
Foggy would like them to become a bit richer, but Matt refuses to take on the big money clients because they're usually guilty.
Yeah. And it's a very fair assessment.
Well, I had forgotten how they meet Karen Page, which is like the first episode here.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that too. How it just like, oh, well, we're open right up with the murder.
She's over a dead guy with a knife in her hand, blood all over. And it's like, whoa, I did not remember that.
Cops break in, like, okay, here we go.
It does seem familiar. She has that story arc throughout this whole season, but yeah, I completely forgot, and it makes sense. It's a good way to introduce the character and actually give her kind of a story. In fact, I'd say kind of at this point, I feel like Karen's like the second biggest character, at least in these first 4 episodes, obviously behind Matt. Because Foggy's there, but he doesn't have anything going on. That's just him right now. She does.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we don't see much of Wilson Fisk yet, but we do a bit later.
We do see his... We do see his smarmy assistant.
Oh, yeah, Wesley. Yeah, we see a fair bit of him. Super slimy. Who is the name of the actor who does it? He does a good job doing the slimy thing, though.
My phone knows whenever it's in my hand.
Mm-hmm. Wow, is he not in that many episodes?
Who?
Wesley. I thought he was in at least most of season 1. No, he's got to be in more than that.
Oh, he was at least in like he was in the first 4.
Yeah. Oh God, no, he's
but,
right
like,
there. Okay, Toby Leonard Moore. Yeah, he's really good at doing like the thing where it's like he's diplomatic but slimy as shit.
Such a bastard. Yeah. Such a bastard.
He's on the face of it, he's like nice and considerate, but you just know underneath there he's just such a piece of shit.
Such a piece of shit. And I'm I'm already at the point where I'm waiting like, Mac, can you just like beat the ever living shit out of this guy?
Yes. Oh my God.
I'm waiting for your ass. Yeah. I'm waiting for that one.
And I'm pretty sure something does happen to him this season, but I don't remember. I think we'll have to get to that. But yeah.
I think he gets
maybe
maimed.
Something like that. Yeah.
Like not badly, but he gets fucking maimed. One of my favorite moments of the first 4, since it's an older series, I figured we're just gonna kind of popcorn.
Oh yeah,
after Rosario Dawson finds him and gets him better, he has her disguised by that fake cop that he just like drops a fucking fire extinguisher on, and he has him up on top of the building. It's like, why are we taking him up here? No one will hear him scream. Yeah. And he still pushes him off the ledge anyways. It's like, you killed him. It's like, no, he'll live.
But that's the thing. Like he wasn't sure if he killed him or not. He had to take a second because he's definitely
he's
like we're introduced and he's already doing the Daredevil thing, but you can still tell he's figuring out what he's doing here.
Yeah, he could totally get by, but it's kind of really cool to see it because you'll see him just stop, even like that scene when in the courtroom. Where he's standing in front of the jury and he's just listening to all their heartbeats. It was like that is a nice touch, I think. I really enjoyed that.
Well, he uses that heartbeat thing a lot. And God, he uses it so much that like when the show uses it, I can tell if they're lying or not. It's like, oh, okay, now I can use this thing.
Actually, by the 3rd time it was happening, I went, no, you're full of it.
Exactly.
Mac's onto you. He's onto you.
Oh,
you're gonna get.
You're lying. You're.
I also like that whole hallway fight scene, which
God.
I believe that's like a remake, like a shot for shot of like a martial arts movie.
I don't know about that.
I want to say Imp Man.
Maybe.
I want to say Imp Man. Or something.
I wouldn't
like
know
that.
about that,
I remember
but like
hearing. Neither would I, because I don't really know those martial arts movies that well. I mean, there's a few I know that are badass, like those old Sonny Chiba ones, and old Jackie Chan ones from the 70s. And I mean, of course, Bruce Lee.
Yeah, well, that
because
that hall fight is pretty iconic for this series because it's. I could tell, like especially rewatching it, it's not one shot, but it looks like one shot. Pretty convincing.
Oh, it totally does.
You can see lots of times.
I could tell you where the two cameras were.
Yeah, well, I can.
I mean, there was a camera in the one room, that he knocked him through, and another one there. But the one in there was the one in the hallway, so they just kind of moved it over as they were going, so it would just look like, we know your tricks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like if I.
It was seamless, though.
Yeah.
It was totally seamless.
Like, if I were playing it right here, I could sit down and just be like, I couldn't tell you 100% cuts, but I could be like, probably cut. And odds are, every time I point out probably cut is a cut. Because why won't you take advantage of that? But, yeah, God, that fight is so good. And what I like about it is how, like, throughout the whole season, or at least these first 4 episodes, like, Matt's getting into a lot of fights, and, like, through so many of the fights, you can tell how, like, exhausted he is, but he just keeps on going.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, yeah, he's wiped out, he's leaning on walls, he's not at his best, but they're not getting him down either. This series is also more graphic than even I remember, especially, I think, watching on Disney Plus, I was wondering if they edited it at all. And nope.
Well,
no.
Funny thing, what happened is when I turned on my Disney Plus, I had to, since I'm the administrator account on there, I had to go through and allow permissions for every account on there so that they could watch it because my dad wanted to watch something on the Discovery portion of it, and it was like one about animals. But it had like a lot of graphic violence on there, and he called me. He's like, "What did you put parental controls on mine?" I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
and he told me the message like, "Oh, okay, give me a minute."
No, I was
but yeah, I had to. No, I had. Sorry, but I had to go in and change all my settings just to watch it.
No, I just remember them talking about how like I think they said Disney Plus in Canada is going to add all the series instantly. And I was just like, okay, so does that mean not America and they're just going to be in limbo for a bit or something? Because I figured they'll add it eventually, but like they have to figure out some way to add R-rated stuff. Or they could have just added to Hulu, which would have sucked. But, it's there to watch.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Yeah, commercials, blah. Fun fact, Hulu charges entirely too much to get rid of commercials. Like, if it was like $1 or $2, I'd probably do it. Like, I think it's like $5, which I'm like, oh. But, this is super graphic, and I am happy it's on Disney Plus. But yeah, I just remember logging in and having to. It asked me all the accounts. It's like, okay, my son, my daughter, my parents' account. Now I have to give them all age restrictions. And then I think I have to do a PIN for my account, which I kind of want to get rid of because I kind of don't care if people use my account. But
well, be careful. Be careful with that. I know that I've read that allegedly Netflix is going to start charging people who do that.
What? Getting rid of PINs?
No, like sharing a PIN, like sharing an account.
Oh no, well yeah, that's just my household though.
Well, yeah. I mean, my parents share my Disney Plus account. I share a Netflix account with them.
Well, totally off topic, but Netflix is kind of driving me nuts with all the fucking rules and restrictions they put on the accounts. They already charge more than I think anybody else right now. And they have good content, but guys, get a fucking grip. Holy shit.
Or, I don't know. I kind of feel that some of the original content that they've been putting out lately hasn't been on as great. I don't know if they can. I don't know. I also feel that they cancel series way too quickly.
I know. Well, I guess what was the last thing we covered from Netflix on this show? Was it Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah.
Wow, that's not that much.
I mean, we didn't get into Tiger King.
No. Well, that was a while before the show started too, and I don't have a severe interest.
True. I mean, it's fascinating. What's even more fascinating is first time I ever heard the name Joe Exotic is when that guy let all of his animals out here in our state.
Yeah, I think the first time I probably heard it was on John Oliver.
No, yeah, but all that time ago when that dude let all his wild animals out, Joe was on the news here in Ohio.
Wow.
Saying like, he owns a zoo down in Oklahoma. And I'm thinking, wait, full pause. You own a zoo? You? What's the name of your zoo? Looked it up and was like, oh, looking at it and going, oh. And it looked the same as it did in anything that you would see it before it closed. And it's middle of a field, bunch of janky cages. Wild fucking big cats.
So I have to do a little bit of a correction here. So the last thing we covered from Netflix for the podcast was actually The Witcher, which was the episode that may be changed whether or not we're going to cover whole seasons at once. Yeah, that's right. Because I love Witcher, but god damn it, that was too much.
And a lot of filler.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's interesting. You can't see it right here, but on OBS, I'm using a Netflix poster for Daredevil. And one thing I noticed watching the opening credits is that, I don't think there's any mention of Netflix in that opening credits on Disney Plus at all.
And I remember there being a little Netflix's.
Yeah.
Netflix. Daredevil.
No, it was a big deal that
I haven't watched through all the credits yet either. So
it might sneak you in the back or something.
That's a good point, though.
It's gone. It's in Marvel.
That's a good.
It's Marvel and ABC Studios presents Daredevil. Now it's Yeah.
Okay.
Netflix had nothing to do with it, right?
All right, guys. I was gonna say, I hope that they do something with Charlie Cox more than just that cameo.
Yeah, I keep on hearing rumors of the Daredevil season 4. Nothing confirmed yet. I think what's going on is they're floating the idea, and largely what I've seen is positive reaction to it. So I hope they do something like that, or do a movie sequel or something. I'd love to see the continuation.
I've also heard them reaching out to all the original cast. Of all the series, and so far I know that obviously I think Ethan Embry was a yes. He'll come back and play Foggy.
Eldon Henson.
And it's that's Eldon Henson. What? That's right. That's not Ethan Embry. Why did I think Ethan Embry?
No, you said that. I was like, who does he play? Who does he?
Why? No. And I was thinking, why did I say Ethan Embry? Who? What am I thinking? What am I thinking of that would have him?
No, I had no idea. I was like, who does he play?
I'm trying to think of a movie that he and Eldon who plays
Eldon
Foggy?
Henson.
Eldon Henson, yes, Eldon Henson. That's right. I'm trying to think of a movie that those two are in together. That is the only way I think I could have confused them. They aren't in Can't Hardly Wait. Sorry, I'm derailing
myself. That's okay.
Myself.
I'm 99% sure Deborah Ann Woll recently tweeted that she would be up for it. I think obviously Charlie Cox is game. He's already been reintroduced.
I think Kristen Ritter.
Yeah, Kristen Ritter.
I think Kristen Ritter has also said yes.
I'm not. I think John Bernthal might have said something like that too. Which would be awesome.
Oh yeah. He'll. He's Punisher. I can't picture anyone else.
Well, the Netflix series. It's weird calling them Netflix series since I guess they aren't Netflix series anymore. They're Disney Plus series.
Yeah,
but they did such a good job. Especially this. You haven't seen Jessica Jones season 1 yet, but Jessica Jones season 1 is so goddamn good. Like, I remember not being sure which was better, season 1 of Daredevil or season 1 of Jessica Jones. What's after this? I think season 2 of Daredevil. But, like, just those 2 first season 1s, it's just so good. And they're dealing with lots of adult themes and lots of adult ideas. And I feel like it's doing it, like, I almost felt like it was a response to DC, because DC was doing dark stuff just by kind of just being dark, not actually tackling dark themes, just being unnecessarily dark. And this was, like, this is covering, like, corruption. When we get to Jessica Jones, we're going to be talking about fucking rape. This is dark adult stuff that we're dealing with in these series.
Yeah, and I believe Luke Cage was about embezzlement.
It seems familiar, something like that. Yeah.
Like crooked, corrupt politicians and embezzlement. It's like, oh,
yeah,
lovely.
But yeah, there's a couple things I want to bring up, because there is a point where Matt and Foggy are walking around, and it sounds like a grammar mistake, but I don't think it was meant to be a grammar mistake, because Foggy's like, we should take on bigger clients. We're just so broke. And then Matt says, yes, but we're doing good, Foggy. And obviously, grammatically, it's supposed to be doing well, but I don't think it's a grammar mistake. I think what he means is that we're doing good. We're doing good for the community, which I like.
Yeah. No, I think I caught that too, and I think how they framed it too meant to imply the community. But yeah, I did kind of just go, I know what you meant, but winced a little there.
Yeah, it's like, that's not right. Oh, but I see what you're doing. Now, we haven't even talked about the big bad yet, which we do need to get to. The debut of Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Oh my god, I love Vincent D'Onofrio in this role. And you get little hints before you get his full debut. Because it's worth noting, there's lots of graphic violence throughout this series that I actually forgot. There's a scene where a guy literally impales his own head, I think, through the eyeball. And it's like, holy crap, that's graphic as fuck. Now that I've described that to you, the scene at the end of episode 4 is something I definitely didn't forget.
Yeah, I as soon as it was out there, I was like, oh, right. This is, as soon as it showed like him getting out, it's like, oh, I remember this part. He
calls Wesley, and Wesley's like, yeah, he's in the passenger side. It was after this, these mobster brothers,
these like Russian mobster, like
they have a difference of opinion. One is like, fuck this Wilson Fisk guy, and the other guy's like, no, we should apologize. We should try to make this right. So the one that tries to make it right goes and barges in on Wilson Fisk during a date.
Yeah.
And then he's quickly pulled away, but the date ends, and it's, and obviously now the Vanessa, I believe we get a live action Vanessa before Spider-Verse, so that's kind of interesting. She's like very skittish around Kingpin now, and Wilson's not happy. Drags him out of the car, beats the ever-loving shit out of him, and I don't think there's much of his head left after he smashed the car door into it.
No, he either half pulverized or decapitated.
Yeah, it was gone. It's the amount of blood that came gushing out. It's like, oh my god. This was on Disney Plus a couple weeks ago, by the way.
Yep. Just got to change your settings.
Yeah. It's interesting how...
Even though I did that before, it dropped. But hey, because when I read that they were going to be getting all the X-Men stuff, and it was like Logan, and yes, that means Logan. Oh, cool. So, change settings because I want to watch Logan right when it drops, because Logan was a masterpiece.
Well, I think I looked recently to see if they added
Logan
Deadpool. They didn't.
No. Oh, would you... Well, mention it now. Would you consider Logan to be a Western?
Yeah, it has lots of Western, at least settings, at least. But yeah, it definitely has...
And tropes, too.
Lots of tropes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you're defining Western as a movie that takes place during that time period specifically, no. But, like, in every other way, yes.
No. In storytelling. Not in setting, in storytelling.
Then yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I read, like, a bit of an essay about that yesterday, and it was like, oh, this is good. But I want to watch it now.
No, Logan is really good. Logan's one that I didn't really like. I thought was fine when I first watched it, but like every time I've had to watch, like if I watch it for a video or I do research, every time I watch it subsequently, I like that movie more and more. It is so well done. There's a little bit more I find every single time. And I remember,
even though I know, even though I know it's coming, I am still shocked when Professor X drops that first F-bomb. Even though I know it's coming, I'm still just, I was just going to say, first time I watched Logan, the ending didn't really get to me. Obviously, spoilers, where Wolverine dies. The ending didn't really get to me. Last time I watched it was just probably like 2 years ago. It got to me. It's like, oh, God. First time, it was a gut punch. I knew it was coming. I had a feeling the whole time. Because it's like kind of thinking, how many more does Hugh have in him? And this is Logan. So are they doing Old Man Logan? Because that's the only other... I mean, Hugh's age appropriate now.
Well, technically a little young, but yeah.
He's a little young, but he could have passed for it. And as soon as it opened up, it was like, they're doing Old Man Logan. He's going to die in this movie.
But yeah.
And then shortly after that, I saw Deadpool 2. And what's funny is somebody, when in the theater that I saw it in, when in spoilers for this, he had a little toy of Logan that was impaled on some rubble. That was in the second Deadpool movie, wasn't it?
I think it's the second one. I think it's the beginning where he's talking about, like, characters can die, so I'm going to die in this. Something like that, and he brings, like, we see, like, a toy of it.
That's right.
We don't actually see it, obviously.
Of a toy of that, a toy of that. Somebody yelled, oh, man, spoilers! And somebody in the row behind where I was shouted, oh, too fucking soon! So, hey, at least I had a great...
Well, there you go. But yes, do you have any final thoughts on Daredevil?
No, I'm kind of excited to dive back into the series.
Like, I love the cast. I love the dark take on the MCU. Yeah, I think this is a good start. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's nice to go back. Oof. All right. Are we ready to rumble?
Rumble. Well, I mean, if we were Michael Buffer, that would have been at least 15 grand there.
Yes. Are you ready?
No, seriously, that man gets
I'm
paid
sure
money
he
to
has
say
the voice.
those words.
He's like iconic for that voice.
He is the voice.
I don't know what they're going to do when he passes, because what do you do then? When you
his son does it. His son does ring announcement as well. Yeah, and he sounds just like his dad. Like unless I hear Michael Buffer Jr., I can't tell the difference. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the Clone Wars have started.
So, ready to rumble. David Arquette, Oliver Platt, Scott Kahn. Wrestling fans.
In the 2000s, the year 2000, this movie came out. So the late 1990s, and especially, pro wrestling got a surge of popularity all of a sudden. Mostly through the Monday Night Wars that were going on between WCW, a Atlanta-based company, and the more popular WWF at the time, now WWE, and I'll refer to them as such throughout the rest of
the
this
World Wildlife Federation.
Yes, panda bears hitting other panda bears.
That's what I thought.
It's still the greatest T-shirt ever. Oh, I mean, that lawsuit. I mean, yes, yes, I get where the Wildlife Foundation is coming from. I absolutely understand it. And at the time, well, this was after this, WWF was not necessarily putting on the most family-friendly content like they do now. Now, it's so fucking wholesome, it's gross.
Really? I don't keep up.
At times it is. I mean, I think the creepiest thing is they had someone in a Black Swan-esque makeup with a bunch of red light on her, and, artsy. It's pro wrestling. Yeah. I suspend disbelief when I watch it.
What?
It's there to entertain. It's there to entertain. I still respect the guys who hurt themselves like every night. Like that's beautiful. Like, oh God, you guys are champions, literally. But so both these companies, they were having a hellacious battle every Monday just for ratings. And I mean, there's even a full 83 weeks where WCW beat WWF in ratings alone. 83 consecutive weeks. That's nothing to shake a stick at.
Well, I do know, like when I was growing up, like when I was a kid, probably the only time I watched wrestling regularly when I was like a kid in California, so I was young. It was WWF.
Oh, so you didn't have any smaller local like areas or anything?
Not that I'm aware
like your local.
Like I said, I was a kid.
Okay. But yeah, it was WWF, so probably guys like Razor Ramon. Diesel,
well, yeah, no, I mean, at that time it had Hulk Hogan and Rowdy Piper and...
Rowdy
Piper. Those were the two big ones at the time, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You see, when I was until I was like maybe like a early, like 10 into like my early teens or like pre-teens. So it was like that late 90s area. So like it was like the guys right before the majority of the wrestlers in this movie. A lot of the wrestlers I liked were in this, but just, I don't know, a lot of the other, but not all of them. But there was like a long list of heavy hitters for the company at that time who appeared in here. Like Bill Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, Sting, Booker T, Randy Savage, Bam Bam Bigelow, Sid Vicious, Juventud Guerrera, Kurt Hennig, The Disco Inferno, Billy Kidman, Conan, Rey Mysterio Jr., Perry Saturn, Prince Iaukea, Van Hammer, and Gorgeous George. Not the infamous Gorgeous George from like wrestling history from the 70s, or I'm sorry, from the 40s and 50s. Actually, Randy Savage bought the name and the rights to that name for like to be used professionally in the business, and that name he gave to a girl who was his valet in the later years of his career. So that big blonde bimbo in the grocery store, that's Gorgeous George. You know who teamed up with Ahmet Zappa?
Yeah.
Did you know that was Frank's boy?
No.
Yeah. So the announcers, obviously Michael Buffer is in this movie. WWF announcing legend Mean Gene Okerlund, and WCW staples Mike Tenay and Tony Schiavone. Referees, actual WCW referees, Billy Silverman and Charles Robinson. Fun side note, Charles Robinson, the blonde ref in the movie, super huge horror fan.
Oh, really?
Like, has a little museum in his basement. Like I saw a video of him just like, here's like a life-size model of Michael Myers. Here's one of Jason. Here's one of Freddy. And down there is little Michael when he was a kid. And it's like that. It's like, okay, you see, you're all right, dude. You seem pretty cool.
And you're not mentioning the most famous wrestler of all in here, King Jimmy.
Oh, King Jimmy King. No, these are the real wrestlers. Actually, fun fact, they're the two wrestlers who did the majority of the stunts in this, Shane Helms and Chris Canyon. Okay. Both not featured in the movie at all. But yeah, I mean, watching it, and when I knew that, and actually Canyon got a lot more in the business and the wrestling thing shortly after this with the tie-in when it was released, which I'll get into. So yeah, and also the Nitro Girls, which were like their WCW's Monday show. Like I guess that was like the show cheerleaders or the girls who danced in between matches.
Yeah,
it's something that doesn't age well.
Yes, it did. It was a little cringe, but yeah,
yeah, pretty much what you. That was a weekly thing on the show.
No, it was definitely an element of it. So yeah,
and it's like that time period. So in the opening credits, when we hear Scott Caan's narration start, when he's mentioning legends, they're not corresponding with the photos.
I noticed that. Like
legends
they show Andre the Giant, and I just feel like 2 minutes later he mentions Andre the Giant for the first time. It's like,
they show Andre when they say George the Animal Steel, and it's like no, that is Andre the Giant.
I've seen The Princess Bride. I know what he looks like.
I've seen a picture of him holding a can of Budweiser. It looks so tiny. I mean, with the exception of Bruno Sammartino, which is the only one they say when they show a picture of him. But mind you, the photo is panning up as the name is being said. It's like, there goes Bruno.
Yeah.
Also, Jimmy Kane is not a wrestler. But
Oliver Platt looks like a wrestler to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he
totally buffed up for this. You know?
He buffed up. Ahmet Zappa was a dick to some kids, is how this movie starts. David has a day. So the movie starts out where Sean, the character who's played by Scott Caan, he's talking to some younger kids about wrestling. And then Ahmet Zappa comes out and kind of bees a dick to him, throws the kids' bicycles on the ground, tells them that wrestling's fakes and for dum-dums, only he says the R word. He's not too nice about it. We see David Arquette slurping down a Slurpee, and then he goes into some super hallucination because he had that pure sugar one, like from the Simpsons.
Sure.
So he started to go into hallucination land, where he imagined a fight between him and the clerk, and the clerk teamed up with Randy Savage.
Did the clerk?
And he got to team up.
That's right, and then he teamed up with Jimmy King. That's right.
Yeah. What's funny is during that filming of that scene, they show it in the outtake. Oliver Platt landed a punch on.
I saw that. I was like, ooh. You could see Platt was like, oh God, I'm sorry. Oh no.
I mean, I'm sure.
No, I mean,
he's just like, oh.
I mean, wrestlers are essentially stuntmen. They can take a hit. They can.
Oh, he probably thought it was hilarious.
And there's a decent chance Oliver Platt doesn't have much of a punch, too. So that probably helps him, right?
It's all right. It's all right, man.
Oh, I thought a fly hit me.
But they have that fake match.
Yeah. This is an interesting movie to watch, mainly because it's there's a who's of wrestlers going on, which is kind of interesting.
And especially cool at the time, because at the time it did have a lot of the big players in that promotion, WCW. Also, another fun fact: Diamond Dallas's page that he walks out to later in the arena, that was written by Dweezil Zappa and performed by Dweezil Zappa. I found that note and I was rewatching it, going, "Yeah, that sounds like Dweezil. That's pretty awesome." I didn't know that they had a part. Also, they ripped off Mallrats at one part.
Do they? It's been a while since I've seen Mallrats.
He stuck his finger. Up his ass.
Okay, for the free Slurpee. Slurpee. This smells like ass. This smells like.
Yeah, this movie did have a motif with shit.
Yeah, well, they were cleaning out. I can't think. Outhouses.
Porta-johns. Yeah, and they drove a giant, as they called it, the butt.
Yeah, and they sit in between this thing that is just leaking, and I don't want to think about what it's leaking, but we all know what it's leaking. And I'm like, how are they sitting next to it eating so casually?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised later, when they're driving and the thing overturns and that cap on the top of it just goes flying off. What I also love is that the fire department are cleaning it up. And they're not looking for the fucking cap, but they're just trying to shovel it all in one spot.
It's like, okay.
Oh, God. And they got struck with toilet paper. That was like the fourth poop joke within like 30 minutes.
Are there poop jokes in this movie? Are there ass jokes too? What?
Oh, yeah.
What? I don't think I saw that.
Well, a big time like producer and like head of WCW. Excuse me. A guy by the name of Eric Bischoff. He had gotten the ball rolling on this movie with Turner, right? Like a long time before like they even started filming. About a month or so, they started doing principal photography for it. Eric was let go from the company. So the role that Joey Pants plays in this was supposed to be played by Eric.
Really?
He was going to play like a hyperized evil villain of himself. Yeah, I was listening to his podcast, which he has called 83 Weeks. And he had talked a little bit about the movie on there, or I found the episode where he talked about the movie when I was doing my research for this. And kind of like listening to it while I had the movie on in the background, while I was kind of taking notes. But yeah. So that's why he's not in there. But as I mentioned, Joey Pantoliano plays. When they're at later, the boys go to a WCW event, and we see them. Well, we see backstage a promoter going back talking to Goldberg and DDP, which I love. As he goes up, he's like, "Hey, Bill, how are you?" Or he calls him Billy. That's right, he calls him Billy. I mean, as a fan, I thought that was just hilarious. It's like, you called him Billy. Nobody calls him Billy. Look at that man. He used to play for the Atlanta Falcons. Like, I would not know, little kid, that man's name. Oh, God. But yeah, he tells Bill Goldberg and DDP how this match is going to go. Then he pulls DDP aside and says, "Hey, nah, you're going to win. This is how you're going to do it. Just win tonight. You're going to." Which actually, some big event in the WWF happened in 1997 that obviously this is emulating.
Really?
An event that happened, yes. It happened between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in Montreal, called the Montreal Screwjob. What the plan of it was Shawn's guys were going to run out, start interfering near the end of the match, then Bret's guys were, and it would just be a DQ end. Because Bret was leaving the company, and then that following Monday he would have stayed for the Monday night show, and then, given the belt over, then he didn't want to lose it in Canada. It's his hometown. He didn't want to lose it there. I get that. But what happened instead was right at the point when the men were supposed to run out, the ref just had, like, we hear Vince in the show, we hear Vince yelling, "Ring the bell," and the ref rings the bell, and Bret loses the title. And you kind of see him sitting there going, what? It's something that has been scrutinized and dissected and gone over by so many different people within the industry, people who were directly involved, like backstage with it. And this happened in 1997, and there's still people talking about it today. Bob.
Well, I mean, it will have been fairly recent for this movie. I mean, especially relative, because I mean,
still fairly recent. Yeah. So, and still like something that's worth talking about, because I mean, now at the point where if it wasn't all pre-planned, I would just be disappointed at this point as a fan. Like, if it wasn't, I would just be a little disappointed. Just being like, well, that just, confirmed one thing, that Vince is a shrewd businessman.
And an asshole. But
already knew. And an asshole. And an asshole. But that's something I also knew
we all know that one.
Yeah. But, yeah, so we find out. Obviously, that's when the boys crash the butt juice mobile. Also, Sasha is portraying the lead Metro girl, as they call her, early on in the film. They call her that. What's funny is DDP's wife at the time was actually the lead Metro.
Oh, really?
but she's not even in the movie. But his wife actually was the lead Nitro girl. Well, his wife
it's Rose McGowan, who is someone I have super mixed feelings about.
I don't care for her in this. Fucking love her in Scream.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking raw acting abilities, here she's kind of nowhere. She's essentially just a plant.
She's fodder. She's fodder.
She's treated like eye candy, and that's kind of it.
Also, at the end of credits, I don't know if you caught this, there's a line that says no wrestlers were harmed in the making of this movie.
I did not catch that.
In the beginning match, when they first get to that Nitro, Rey Mysterio, the guy in the army camo suspenders, he hurt his knee from that one shot that they had of him doing that like flip with his legs. Yeah, they had him do it so many times over and over. He injured his knee during the process.
Oh, wow.
Which actually, he's still wrestling today, and he still has knee injuries all the time. I mean, I think it's kind of fun. I laugh hindsight now, because it's like, oh, he hurt himself in this movie? How? Oh, a knee injury? Surprising, because I'm used to hearing him out for a knee injury. But, I mean, he was doing that in the, late 90s, and he's still going strong today. I respect the guy. He can have as many as he wants.
I will tell you, coming as not a wrestling fan, I'll kind of tell you my thoughts. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, but there were a couple things I was kind of okay with. Number one, Martin Landau's a treasure. He has such a brief role, and I feel like he's just introduced and gotten rid of so goddamn quickly. I feel like we could have done more of his character, because what he is, he's an old wrestler trainer, and he takes so much joy, and he is so clearly aged out of this, but still takes any advantage he can to wrestle anybody for any reason, and it's he does it with such joy. I love it.
He's actually based off of
really?
Bret Hart's dad.
Oh, really?
He has a school in the basement of his house that is literally just a wood-paneled room and a mat on the floor. Oh, yeah, I've seen videos of him training people to go to pro wrestling and that, and it's kind of funny to watch an old guy just wrenching on a younger guy's arm. He's like, "Oh, let go," and it's like, nope, you got to learn the pain. It's just so yeah, he's supposed to be Stu Hart. But yes, Martin Landau was, I also feel, criminally underused. Criminally
he was
underused.
Great every moment he popped up, because it was tough not to smile when he was literally on the screen in this movie. But
first watching him pop in, it's awesome. So in the gym scene, when they first try to recruit Goldberg for the team, did you happen to catch a special cameo in the background?
Probably not.
Well, I'm not surprised that you didn't see him.
Oh, so was it not something that I was supposed to see?
Oh, it was John Cena.
Oh, really?
It was John Cena.
Oh, really? Okay, I got you now. Hang on.
Blonde-haired John Cena. God. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't see.
Wait, Drax the Destroyer was in this?
No, not Batista. But it's kind of funny, because you see him walk in and look right at camera and then look immediately down.
Oh, yeah. Don't do that. No.
Cena hasn't learned quite as much in this one yet. Soon he will be peace. But watching it going hey, I didn't see you.
I guess probably a lot of people aren't super familiar. So brief rundown of the story. We have super fans David Arquette and Scott Kahn. They're going to watch their favorite wrestler, Jimmy King, at a championship match, played by Oliver Platt, who I don't believe for a second is a wrestler in this.
But I will say, though, if he's supposed to be the good guy champion, when he came out, he had nothing but bad guy energy.
I know. He came out, and I was like, God, I want to see him get his ass kicked.
Well, I mean, already, and that's kind of with wrestling, there's the good guys who are baby faces, and in the bad guys, they're known as heels. He had total heel energy. I mean, royalty. So you're already above the common people. That's already a perfect heel trait. I mean, his catchphrase is "I will rule you." And also, not to mention, this king raps.
Yes.
Reading stuff about the making of this, there was one of the guys who was in the opening scene, Juventud Guerrera, I believe. Since they were in a Spanish-speaking area in Mexico filming that scene, so he had to translate to the crowd what the rap was so that they could all sing along to it. I'm like, oh, can there be footage of that?
But yes. Anyways, they go to watch Jimmy King. He's their favorite wrestler. He gets defeated, as you mentioned, the whole switcheroo. He's supposed to win, but he doesn't. And so
the cross.
The main crux of the movie is them tracking him down so they can rehabilitate him and he can get his championship back.
It's kind of like the Blues Brothers, but no music. Well, the music's not as great. Now. Just that one part with Dweezil Zappa was awesome, but unfortunately, the music doesn't get better after that. It drops.
It's
quickly.
A lot. It's like a lot of the typical stuff you get from this time period, and like when I say there's not a single Scream soundtrack that is worse than this one, I mean that genuinely.
Yeah, Scream 3 was the worst soundtrack.
Yes, it was. I would take it over this. There are a couple here where it's like
only a few gems to take away from the Scream 3 soundtrack. I remember the Deftones track being pretty awesome, and
I'm so burnt out on Incubus after my ex-roommate. My first roommate in college. Every day. I wake up every day. Pardon me while I burst. Every fucking day. A couple times a day.
Okay. Oh. That's fair. I mean, it could have been worse, man.
Oh, I'm sure it could have been, but
you could have woken up every day to that's on
Yeah. I haven't seen a whole lot of wrestling movies. I would definitely say this is not one that thrills me, but like I said, I love Martin Landau here. I like Oliver Platt, but I don't believe him as a wrestler for a second. And like you said, he comes off as a heel, very much so. Just jumping into your terminology instantly,
And it's kind of funny to me because, before this came out, in wrestling storyline, DDP is like a babyface.
Yeah.
Super babyface. And a lot of the people who were the bad guys were all baby faces. So I remember watching it at the time as a fan, kind of thinking why are they playing bad guys? That's not true to who they are. What? I mean, some of the ones who were good guys and stayed good guys throughout the whole movie, that's tried and true, guys like Booker T and Goldberg and the Disco Inferno. Get a little off topic and just talk about that one wrestler for a moment. He was like a mid-card, someone who would come in the middle of the show to kind of pad the show out, But great performer. He had entertaining matches, but his gimmick was he was a disco dancer. So he would come out disco strutting, do it in the ring, and sometimes in the middle of matches. Hilarious gimmick. Fucking hilarious. And the guy who is the Disco Inferno, his name is Glenn Gilberti, I think. Or Glenn Gilberti. Glenn Gilberti, I think. I believe that's his last name. But he still has that fucking swoosh. Today, still has that big hair. And I've listened to him talk a bit about the movie too. And he was just saying, man, it was like a crazy production. I don't have a lot of experience in Hollywood or anything, but I mean, it was it just felt so weird. I mean, me and the guys, we were just, okay, cool, we do business, we're used to this, but I don't know, it just seemed like we were a lot calmer than everyone, the Hollywood people. We're just cool, we'll wait. No big deal.
Well, one thing this movie doesn't do a particularly good job, and I feel like always when we go to wrestling movies, I always bring up The Wrestler because I do love that movie. It doesn't really I feel like it treats the wrestling almost too seriously. And yet
it doesn't blur the lines?
Yeah. Whereas I feel like a little bit of line blurring would be way more interesting.
Well, they did. I'm happy you brought this up because there's stuff that I noticed that they did. Now, the first time that we see Paige and Kane in the match, you hear them calling spots to each other. That's what guys will do in the ring. That's
there's a little bit.
That's a dose of reality.
Yeah.
That's nice. And even like a few times, like where like even hit like, good God, man, what was that?
Yeah.
Like real stuff. Like there's like a thing that they'll do. Like refs will do this. You ever see it? Like sometimes whenever there's a big hit or a big move, like you'll see the ref put his hand in like the wrestler's hand like this. Like he'll put his palm so his fingers are resting on him like this. They do that so if like, you know, they go, hey, are you okay? Can you continue? And you once respond yes, 2 for no. It's something small enough and subtle that, you know, the people in the arena can't see it, obviously. And, you know, if something is wrong, he could give this signal to the back like, yo, medical.
Yeah.
We need medical. But the little touches of like the actual reality is nice. The thing in the wrestler, the one point in that I really like where you see them talking about it and it's interchanged with shots of the actual match.
Yeah.
Like, that was nice. Now, there's one shot in the wrestler. I'm happy you brought this up because it's my favorite shot in the movie from like for a long time. And it's something that I rank up there with, like I rank it up there with that, the entrance to the Copa in Goodfellas, like how much I love that shot or that part of a movie, because that shot, that whole steady campaign, it's still, I know it's super cliche and everybody loves it, but it's fucking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful and seamless. Like I love it. Like you're crazy if you hate it. The shot in the wrestler where he's in the back area of the meat area and you hear all the people cheering. He opens the drapes and they just cut off.
Yes.
Yeah. That. Oh, that's some storytelling right there in film. Like beautiful. This movie doesn't give us any of that.
No, like
now,
you said.
I did really like.
I was just gonna say.
I did like that they did use.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I'll be quiet.
What I was gonna say, I really did enjoy that they used like actual WCW personalities in this, like the announcers, Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay. Honestly, those two for years are a great commentary team. Like they have a natural chemistry, and I kind of got a bit of it in the movie, but it was much better when it was like legit live TV.
Yeah.
Well, planned, but still live television. And it's great. Oh, there's my note about Charles Robinson being a huge horror fan.
Yeah. But
yeah, them calling the spots. Also, yeah, the toilet paper. We also forgot on their way out to find Jimmy Kane, they get picked up by a bunch of nuns. We're treating some spirituals.
There's no fart
then
jokes
they ask
there,
them
right?
if they know any. Yeah, there are farty nuns again. Poop. Hilarious.
Yes.
I also have about 5 more of those hilarious deliveries to come up.
No,
they're all in order too. Ironically, where they meet the hacker and they find out where Kane's address. We see Sean dancing to Britney Spears and singing to her. Hilarious.
Sure. That's not dated at all. No, I think it's kind of funny. At the time, it'd be like, he's listening to Britney Spears, and now you watch, it's kind of so he's listening to music he likes. So soon.
What? He's vibing. He's vibing. Yeah. So what? He's enjoying himself.
We all have our own music. Let him go.
Yeah. Hey, he's enjoying himself, man. You know, halfway through my notes, I realized that I stopped writing like the actors' names and actually wrote their characters' names because I didn't remember what their characters' names were. David Arquette plays someone named Gordy.
So Dewey? No.
Oh no, he's Dewey Lane.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Oh god, yeah, I wasn't even putting that together, but yes, very much so.
Oh, I found it. Yeah. So yeah, he has a night where he hangs out with Sasha, and she wants to show her. She asks for him to show her some of his moves, and he performs wrestling moves on her. Next morning, we see a postcard from his father that he sends his father, telling him, "Hey, Dad, I lost my V card."
Yeah, no, he said that. I was like, really? Really? How old is he?
Yeah, I think it's funny that like how the cop thing, and I'm thinking about like, okay, when did this come out in like the first 3 Screams?
Yeah,
I want to say it came out right before.
the one between 2
and 3.
2 and 3, yeah, right, yeah, I think. Yes. I don't know what came first, this or 3 though. But yeah. I
want to say this.
Okay. Yeah, and David Arquette, of course, has done wrestling probably since this movie. So I was guessing this movie is when he was first introduced to it, but I'm not sure.
I think he had been a fan his whole life.
So maybe like that drew him to this, and then yeah.
Yeah, you know. Well, I know that after this, he came on the actual WCW show to promote the movie, and in turn, they put the belt on him.
No.
Actually. Yes, they, I have it here. Yes, on the 25th of April, they put the belt on him. And he lost it later at a pay-per-view in a 3 steel cage match.
Oh my God.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
This one was way more violent. Okay, so David came on to promote the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
He and Diamond Dallas Page went down to the ring together, you know, because they're both the stars of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
By this point, Eric had come back to the company, and he and another wrestler, a wrestler by the name of Jeff Jarrett, first threatened to crash the premiere because he wasn't invited to join the company, though he was wrestling for WWF at the time, but that's neither here nor there when they were filming. But, you know, and David was serious about that, so naturally that got into a little bit of a spat, and it wound up the main event that night. The next night on their secondary show, it became a tag team match where David and Dallas ended up winning the night on Monday. The next night, they ended up going a 2-on-2, which was Dallas and David Arquette versus Jeff Jarrett and David Arquette. And anybody can be pinned will win the title. David Arquette gets the pin. So later on, flash forward to the pay-per-view about a few weeks later. It's a 3-cage. It's Diamond. It's DDP, Jeff Jarrett, and David Arquette. But only in this 3-cage, the middle one is known as the Hardcore Hell, which it has some trash cans, steel chairs, various other weapons and shit. And then the top one is called the Guitar Room and has 4 guitars. Jeff Jarrett's thing was he hit people with a guitar.
Good.
That was his thing. As a promoter once said to him, like, you can't be hitting people with a guitar and not draw a dime. Meaning he can't go out there and do that every night and make any money and expect to make any money. And he's never changed that about his gimmick ever since he started in like the late 70s or 80s. He's always hit people with a guitar. I think it's funny. But so you remember how I mentioned that guy Chris Canyon, the guy who was like the fight coordinator for this movie? Yeah. And like worked out all the wrestling matches? He is in this movie. I did kind of lie to you a little bit. Right at the very end. Where that guy is yelling at Sinclair, you know, calling him a bum and shit. That guy in the ICP t-shirt, that dude, that really buff dude in the front row who looks out of place. That's Chris Canyon. That's what he gets for playing in all the fights. But guess what he gets for slamboree? Near the end of the fight, it's a swerve. David Arquette turns his back on Page and double crosses him, helping Jeff win it. Chris somehow gets his way up to the top. And Shane Helms, who is, a guy named Mike Awesome, made his way up to the top, who also helped sabotage it. At one point in the match, Page tackled Jarrett through a wall of the second cage, so they went through the wall on top of it. But Mike Awesome at one point throws Canyon off of it and onto the entranceway, which is like a giant mat leading up to the ringside. So it's about at level where the ring is. Yeah, threw him off of the first roof of the first cage onto that mat. Yeah, he did hurt himself for real that night. But like doing that, I'm watching it going, and hey, by the way, Canyon, thanks for all your help with Ready to Rumble. That was great. Great work. So you're going to be thrown off a cage tonight. Yeah, I felt bad for the guy.
Now, well, when I bring up,
but I mean, this is another conversation.
Yeah. When I bring up like earlier, how the fights, like how the wrestler, like I felt definitely portrayed the fights better. Like you brought up, there were little things here, like especially in that intro fight where they're like pre-planning. They're saying, "Hey, do this. Hey, do that," and then things go askew. It's really in the final cage match where it just feels like just everything goes to hell, and they're just. It feels like it's more serious, and I guess it's technically supposed to be more serious, but
well, what's funny is I found an interview with Diamond Dallas Page talking about the movie. So, of course, okay, cool. I'm trying to get as much insight on it, other than just what I could read off of Wikipedia or whatever, He had pitched something to the producers that it would have led to a sequel, and he thinks. And actually, I kind of agree with him. So, at the end of the movie, it all ends just how with like the big match, the match ends the same. All right, it sees Dallas being hauled off into the back. The guys celebrate, and then they come back. And, they get back in the backstage area. We see DDP standing there, just staring at Kane. Kane stares at him. You see them laugh, give each other a big hug, and go, "Dude, that was great. That was amazing. Good job tonight." And the boys kind of go,
"That could have been awesome."
What? And and you see that like the wrestlers look at each other, and smile, put their arms around him, like, "Guys, we're gonna go get it here. Welcome to the business." And then it ended like that.
I don't know if that leads to a sequel, but I think that ending by itself is great. I think that would have been perfect. I would have loved that.
I could see.
There's definitely sequel room, depending on how successful this one is. But even if there isn't a sequel, I like that ending better. Period. Yeah,
I like that ending a lot better. A lot better. Yeah, that's kind of brilliant, Dallas.
Yeah. It's
ready
a movie.
To rumble.
It's a movie.
Oh.
It's a movie that exists. It was made. We watched it. So, speaking of unrelated, but I guess better movies, are we ready to move on to Star Trek 3?
Yes, I would say this. I would say Star Trek 3 is a better movie.
Star Trek 3, like there's the talk of the odd Star Trek movies being bad, especially if you throw in Galaxy Quests. Sure. But I would definitely argue Star Trek 3 is the best of the odd ones. This is...
Oh, yeah.
I would say so much so that I would say I genuinely enjoy this movie. I would say this is a good movie.
This is. There's something I noticed this go around with it. The Klingons are introduced very early in the film, and it's kind of like they're forgotten about for the the whole middle of it.
No, well, a lot of that middle is spent with the crew.
And a lot of it is spent, yes, with the crew. But it's just... I thought that was interesting. Just an interesting part. I was like, huh. Usually, like, it's either they're chasing them the whole time or something. But they also wrapped up that Klingon problem rather quickly.
Fun fact. Do you know who Leonard Nimoy originally wanted to play the Klingon that he couldn't get the studio to go for? Edward James Olmos. Who? And I don't want to give grief to Christopher Lee. Christopher Walken. Christopher Lloyd. Oh my god, I'm going to name every single Christopher Lloyd. They're all great, by the way. Christopher Lloyd does a great job here. But Edward James Olmos, I want to see the alternate reality where he's in this too, because he's fucking good too. He's you're a little quiet right now. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's great.
One thing I really noticed watching it this time around was how I feel like this is a really well-written movie. There's a lot of meat to this.
Oh, yeah.
We have big events. We have, obviously, the destruction of the Enterprise, the rebirth of Spock. We get, I guess, a Vulcan sex scene, if you want to call it that. The death of David. Just spoiling all the big plot points right here in front of you. We got big moments in this movie. It's really a good script, I think. Done by Harve Bennett, who had taken this over after the last movie.
We also get to see like what is it, like Spock's consciousness operating bones. controlling Bones for the better part of this movie, or when it was really convenient.
I do want to stress this. I think Leonard Nimoy does a good job considering it's his first feature film, but I do actually kind of feel like as the director, he was probably kind of the rougher patch here. I don't want to say too much negative though, because I think he does good for his first feature film directorial or film. But I feel like he's never done anything this big before, and it kind of shows. Unfortunately.
Well, I felt that it played it safe a lot of the time. Like it was playing it safe for the majority. Like he didn't try to make a lot of big risks with filming camera choices and stuff. Mostly just shots of inside.
Conversations are shot, reverse shot.
Didn't do just didn't do too. That's where I feel it shows. And I mean, later, obviously,
in the next movie, we're going to see. We'll get to it, but it's like a big evolution. It's almost like a flip, I think.
Yes, and this one we are searching for the nuclear vessels.
But, even with him still learning, I really like this movie. I do feel like too. Shatner doesn't 100% like. I love how when he finds out about David and he kind of stumbles into a chair, and then his line delivery is kind of nowhere. So it's like, the stumbling was great, and then no. But there are lots of big events here, obviously. We get Kirstie Alley gets recast, which she's kind of crazy, so I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah.
Who, Kirstie Alley?
Oh, nothing new. Nothing.
Oh, is it the what is it like? It's
probably she's a Scientologist
theorist, right?
too. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know they wanted to get her back, and I know, originally, I was like, oh, it's a shame they didn't get her back, because she was a fairly, especially, after she got the role in Cheers, she became a fairly big actress for a little bit. Yeah,
because then she got the, probably her most famous role that she's known for is the Look Who's Talking movies.
That was big, too.
Yeah.
But then, I'm trying to think of what else she's done. I guess not a whole lot else, but... I mean, Look Who's Talking and Cheers and Star Trek 2 are pretty much in the zeitgeist at this point, so...
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that she would be, very renowned for, known for.
Oh, yes. Fun fact, William Shatner still cannot do the Vulcan salute in this movie, so they had to tie his fingers together for his one shot doing it. Yes, this thing, he can't do this. In fact, there's a great clip. Yeah. It's a great clip of Conan O'Brien where he's talking about how he can't do it, and Conan's just like, what, you mean this? And he has a little freak out moment where he's like, what? It's like, yeah, everybody can do this. You can't do this? You can't all your castmates can do it. I guarantee you that.
Guarantee.
Well, it's not even it's a biological thing. It's a learned behavior. You just teach it to yourself. Usually after watching Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Or look at that picture of Spock for a while.
But yeah, I kind of like the story. You kind of get the family feel kind of where they go on rogue to get Spock's consciousness, because it's worth noting for most of this movie, they aren't going back to get it's not like they know Spock's coming back to life or anything like that. They're going back to get his body because they realize they messed up. They're supposed to bring his body back to Vulcan. And that's all they're doing. They have Spock's consciousness in McCoy, and they're just trying to bring his consciousness and his body back to Vulcan. That's it. And
they had no idea Genesis would completely regenerate him.
I love how in the Wrath of Khan, Spock's big line was, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one, the few are the one. I love how they throw it on, and I love how they throw that on its head here, where Kirk tells him, because the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many.
Yeah, the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. Well, that's also what I love about this and the dynamic between Kirk and Spock, because it's two different idea sets, but they always find a common ground, and they're always able to work out a plan or at least a solution while still keeping all of their ideals and principles. It's diplomacy through and through.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
They don't really do that much in this one, but even like their thoughts with that, like that scene you were just talking about, like that was like one of the that was a great moment. Like, I really enjoyed that in this one.
Yeah.
And even when he was kind of almost fully back, but not really, because I remember him kind of almost being back to normal at the end of this, like the first time I watched it, and then when I watched Voyage Home, he kind of did a reset almost.
Like, that's the other thing that I really noticed watching this one. It's kind of, I forgot, like, this one takes place immediately after Wrath of Khan. And like the other one, it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
I think they're on Vulcan even at the beginning of the next one. So it's like immediately after this. I kind of like that about these movies.
Yeah, because like I think 4 picks up right where this one ends too. And I think the only ones that actually have a bit of a break in them are between, I want to say, Final Frontier and Undiscovered Country.
Break in them, except for these 3.
Except for the first.
Well, there's
4,
a break between 1 and 2.
Isn't it like
but like 2, 3, and 4 are like all in order.
Well, yeah. So 2, 3, and 4. That's right. Yeah, 2, 3, and 4 are all.
Yeah, I think this is even largely called the Star Trek trilogy, which is interesting to start at 2 and then go to 4. But it really kind of is because they just flow into each other so well.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure why Uhura doesn't go with them on the ship when they're stealing it. That feels a little off to me, but okay.
Yeah, I did kind of notice that later. I was like, wait, where's Uhura? Like, is she there to like distract them, somebody, or like veer them away? Because I mean, they all have a purpose on the ship. I mean, I'd be questioning a lot if he's getting on there without. Well, I mean,
they're on super skeleton crew, which is why the Klingon ship is able to overpower them. Essentially, they're able to quickly ambush the Klingon ship, and it looks like they have the upper hand. And the Klingon ship recovers. And then they're fucked because they can't do anything. It's like, Scotty might be able to fix it if he was in engineering, but he can't even, he has to run to engineering. He can't do shit. He can't.
Yeah. He can't do it if he has his whole team of engineers.
No, it's like 5 people on a giant ship designed for like 100. It's not happening. No, but yeah, I do feel it's weird Uhura doesn't go with them because they need everybody they can get.
They can, yeah, they do, and it's like that they're doing something for one of their own, and that crew is like very tight knit.
But yeah, overall, like I said, I think it's well written. I think you make a good point. I didn't even think about this. I thought it was in his inexperience, but you bringing up how maybe he's just not wanting to be too experimental and push the boundaries too much. That could be it too.
Yeah, because maybe he wanted like the story and like the page to do the storytelling, like kind of like the principle of like showing and not telling, or telling.
Now we should probably talk about the destruction of the Enterprise, which is the first time this happens in this franchise. I remember it being a big kid when I was
the first
watching it. It'd be over a decade till we get our destruction of the Enterprise. But yeah, I remember as a kid being like, "Oh my god, they blew up the ship! Oh my god,
they blew up the ship!"
And they,
oh my god,
and it was, and they do kind of a soft reboot or reset of it, but they wait until the end of the next one, which is nice.
The Enterprise.
Hey, there weren't letters before. Now there's a letter. No.
Hey, I know.
Yeah, it's Enterprise too.
I know. See, I was also joking the first time I watched it. I said to my friend, I was like, "So how long are you giving this one?" I'm gonna give it a movie and a half.
Well, we don't know what happens to A, B. We actually do know what happens to C and D. C, by the way, is the one with the least screen time of any ship called Enterprise that I know of.
Yeah, that's the one that's
no, Picard's on D.
right?
Yeah, but it is D, Next Generation where we see C for I think one episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a docking bay being gutted. Is that the one with Scotty?
No, I have Yesterday's Enterprise. Okay. That's a classic one. If it doesn't ring a bell, no. It's fine. It's not one of my favorites. But if you have time, I know doing this you don't really have time to watch extra stuff, but yeah, watch Yesterday's Enterprise. It's such a good episode. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it if you haven't seen it, but it's so good.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'll check it out.
But yeah, this is a damn. Oh, go ahead.
On Next Gen, real quick. Out of all the ones that feature the old cast, I think the one with Bones.
Well, Bones is there for like 2 seconds. That's like the first episode. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Not even competition.
That's why. How dare you have DeForest Kelly for a fucking cameo? But also, I was about to say there's not that many original crew members that pop up.
I want to say in TNG it's just Bones very briefly, and then you get an episode with Scotty, and then a 2-parter with Spock. And then
actually that 2-parter with him was great.
You do get an episode.
Yeah,
I was about to say you do get an episode with Voyager of George Takei. But yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I'm okay with that. I is Chekhov in one too?
I don't think so. He's in Babylon 5. No, of course he doesn't play Chekhov. No, he's a villain in that, which is, he's awesome in that too. But yeah, Star Trek 3, the best of the odd number ones. Including, if you count Galaxy Quest, it's the best odd number one easily.
I'd argue Final Frontier.
Oh, we have a disagreement there.
That one's really good too.
I hate Final Frontier.
It's good, just good. I like that one just in the sense of like the.
Oh no, I think there's actually interesting story ideas they explore in Final Frontier. They don't do it well. They don't.
Yeah. No, they don't. But that's why I like Final Frontier better.
I guess we'll have to get to it. You might have a different idea when you rewatch it.
Yes, we will. Yeah, maybe. But now I know next week we're going to have to get ready to save some fucking whales.
Let's see. I'm not... Are we doing that next week? I know we have... Well, yeah, Voyage Home is next week.
Voyage Home would be next in Star Trek.
Because we have Morbius next week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get to a theater for a matinee.
Moon Knight's supposed to be next week, but I think that's only going to be one episode, so I don't know if we want to wait till there's like 2 or 3 before we talk about Moon Knight.
Yeah, let's do 2 or 3.
All right, so...
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the question for next week. Because I have Sonic the Hedgehog 2020 as a potential, which I'm not 100% sold on, because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 comes out the week after that, which, again, I'm not 100% sold on. So...
Yeah, I'm not too sold.
It's Sonic like that first one was just like fine, but I don't really have an interest in revisiting it. So it's up to you. We could do that or Voyage Home. Okay.
Well, let's do Voyage Home. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm not covering Sonic.
All right, so that means for next week, we will do Morbius, 5 episodes of Daredevil. Hopefully that's not too much, because 4. These are longer episodes. So,
yeah.
We'll do episodes 5 through 9 of Daredevil, and then Star Trek 4. And then, actually, we can push back Moon Knight and do that in a couple weeks, because I see a gap there. And that will probably be episodes 1 through 3. That'll work out. Okay, so Morbius, Daredevil, and Star Trek 4 next week? All right, cool. I think we got a plan. Anything you want to say before we sign out?
No.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, take care of your shoes.
Don't tell bad jokes and don't hit people over bad jokes. That's the moral of the story. Everyone have a good one. I want to go ahead and add some audio credits at the end here. The theme music you're hearing at the beginning and end of this podcast was written and performed by George Johnson, a very good friend of mine. And my current Patreons are Fel Martins, David Lara, and Lindsay Pankhurst. If you'd like to become a patron, go ahead and follow the link down below. Anything you can provide would be incredibly helpful to this channel. We're barely limping by right now. I'd love to make this my full-time job, but I'm miles away from that right now. So any help you could provide, just $1 a month would be amazing. You know you want to. All your friends are doing it.